Welcome to Blue Talks.
What's up? How you doing, people? Stand up.
Okay.
Gotta get you to stand up. Gotta get you to stand up. This happens every time I hit this stage and all the other stages. So take a deep breath. Give me another one. Give me another one. And every time you do it, I want you to just slow it down a little bit. Take another deep breath. Slow it down. Take another deep breath. Slow it down. Now, who here in the room knows at least one other person in the room? Even if it's just hearing my voice and seeing my face for the first time. Awesome. Who here in the room has a cell phone? Smartphone. All right, cool. Who here, by a show of hands, if they pulled that smartphone out, could call at least one person they know? Okay, it's self-evident, right? There we go. Well, this one's pretty easy. Who here could pull out that cell phone, call at least one person they know, and ask them for $20? $100. Okay, there we go. Maybe you know a limit, maybe you don't, right? And changing that number. Who here could pull out their cell phone, call somebody they know, ask them for $20, access their banking information? Okay.
Their banking information?
No, yours.
Oh, my own.
Now, if you call somebody who here thinks they've got a good enough relationship, that's a great statement. Who has a good enough relationship to ask them about their banking? Now we're starting to get into the dodgy territory. So as I'm bringing this up, by the way, you can all sit down. Thank you so much for playing along. So as we're here playing along, I'm asking you self-evident questions. I ask you something really quick. You automatically know what the answer is. You can intuit at least why. What I've given you an example of are things that are called currencies. Now, who here's got a wallet with them? Who here's got a bank card or credit card or cash for those people that are reducing? Who here carries cash on a regular basis, right? So when I ask you to stand up for a moment and then take a couple of deep breaths, that's a currency. We don't think of it, but it's a currency to operate from in life. In fact, our physiology, our physical state, is part of our currency. We either have in abundance or in scarcity or somewhere in the middle. And we can vacillate depending on where we are in life to how much or how little we have to work with. In fact, how many speakers have we heard today? And there's one right there in the back, for instance, that's talked about any number of health issues ongoing at the moment that is depleting that currency. We don't think of the physiological state we are in as being a currency not dissimilar to pull out your phone and have a look at how much money you got in the bank. Who here has ever been sad at any point in life? Just plain old sad. Now we're going to start really seeing how your vocabulary is constructed here. Who here has ever been melancholy? Oh, there's a good word, right? Who here has ever been morose? Pull out another fancy word, or let's pull out another one, right? Who here has ever been happy? Elated? Excited? Horny? There we go. These are emotional and mental markers of our state of affairs. They are, in fact, part of our currency, the makeup we have. So in life, if you've never thought of it for a moment, I want you to ask yourself another self-evident question, because you should be able to answer this inside your own head very quickly. How much do I have to work with in here and emotionally on a day-to-day basis, on average? What do I really have to work with? How can I use it to give to people or take care of myself? When I wake up every day, how much of this do I have to work with on any given day at any given time, either to be in service to other people or to even just provide for myself? How much money do I have access to at any given time? Now, this is an intriguing question that I will ask business owners all the time. If you had to write down on a single piece of paper all the money you think you had access to, how much would that be? Out of all that money, Rosalind's smirking because she's heard this portion of this talk before. Don't worry, I'm not going down that path. How much of that is spoken for someplace else? In other words, I got a bag of cash. I've got a line of credit. I guess I have credit cards. I think I have some stuff tucked away in the safe. Here's an intriguing part about the first line of questions I asked you about your cell phone and if you could call it at least one person. And then could you call them and ask for $20? Would your currency, therefore the pile of money you think you could construct your life out of and use for good things and bad things and for emergencies and for advantages and celebrate and all these other wonderful things in life, shouldn't that include the amount of money you think other people would help you with? Our relationships with people is a currency. Our health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, is a currency. Our access to other people is a currency in life. The ability to derive information and put it to use is currency. Our close family and friends is a currency. Money is a currency. Access to resources is a currency. Time is a currency. If you don't sit down regularly and have a look, like the act of writing it down, or what's wonderful about smartphones is in the case of money, I can flip it open right now, and I got to tell you, the number of people now, I work with people across all gamuts in business, all industries. I've worked with some incredibly specialized industries where there's, count on one hand, the number of people that specialize in this thing in the world. But when you look at your phone and open up your banking information, it tells you with a good degree of accuracy fairly quickly how much money you have. When was the last time you opened up your phone or wrote it down anywhere in a book, how much time you actually have to work with? And I don't mean in the grand scheme of things, right? How much time do I think that life and the gods are going to invest in me for me to do something meaningful, productive, joy-filled, or even tragic? When we don't take the opportunity to look at what we're doing with the time we're granted, then we start to degrade the currency that we've been given. Currency, you can start to smile right now, of time is the largest depreciating asset we have in life. There is no more of it. It disappears every day. 86,400 seconds every single day is gone. As I'm talking, these seconds and moments are lost to eternity. We are sharing the specific moments in each of our own lives with that currency of time that there is making no more of. Does it behoove you then to examine how you spend those precious seconds, those moments, and ask yourself, what am I doing with them in conjunction to the other currencies in life? If the time you allocate to professional practices doesn't have a measurement both in time and in money, and you regularly sitting down to feel terrible about yourself for a moment and going, I am not making enough per hour. Great. Who here thinks they're making enough per hour? If anybody puts their hand up in the air, I will fight you. Flat out. Because it is self-evident in our pursuits of everything else, including money, that we are never satisfied with the condition with how much of this we make. But we never equate to it as a return on the amount of time we invest. What if I told you the amount of time you invest when you switch currencies to relationships for a moment should have an effect on the value of the time you spend and on the money that it puts in your pocket? So everybody should be worth $1 to me? No, they should be worth the expense of the money you have. Who here has children or a partner or a spouse? Who here has no hesitation spending money on them? Doing things, whether for joy or necessity, buy a trailer, buy a house, pay the bills, get the furnace repaired, go on vacation, eat a meal. These sound like regular conditions of life. We don't question whichever one of those we have to do. We only complain about what? The amount of money it's going to cost. We only complain about, I wish I'd known about this a month ago. I wish I'd paid better attention to the noise the furnace was making in the summer, as opposed to when the weather's changing on us. Guess what changes the value of the money in that time for a moment? Who here right now can call somebody that works in HVAC? Who here knows that they'll have no problem making the money work? Those are relationships. Well, you just said relationships should be worth money. You better believe it is. If you don't think an HVAC technician showing up to your house, fixing your crap and saying, pay me when you can, isn't valuable as hell, you haven't had enough bad shit happen to as a house owner to you. Buckle up, because if you own one, it's coming. Relationships satisfy different currencies and needs we have in life. I said access to information. There's also knowledge. These are two different currencies. Access to information means that my time or my money or my inputs or my return towards them is going to give me what? Access to their subject matter expertise. What happens when you talk to a psychologist? What happens when you talk to a financial planner? What happens when you talk to somebody that very easily, accountant, lawyer, other of the professionals, doctor? How many times have we heard doctor come up today? Hell, we had a doctor talking about doctors, right? See, that doctor has got more doctors than most of us can shake a pointy stick at. The doctor collected doctors to do what? Find out their expertise, because his expertise wasn't what? In the thing he was dealing with. Other people's knowledge is a currency. If you're trying to do something, who do you know that knows how to do the thing you're trying to do? If you don't know how to do something, you don't have a person that knows how to do it, where can you go to learn it? The currencies in our life are not just the money and the time. They are predicate on the relationships, on knowledge, on learning. There's another great currency called access. We've heard today some access. Other people that are in privileged positions that may be able to do what? Help you, or that you can in turn help. Currencies in life are funny because we tend to equate it to how much money I don't have, or how busy I am and how little time I have. But the currencies that happen to us in life happen across this gamut. Money, time, relationships, knowledge, information, access. Intimate relationships are a different currency than business-related relationships. So if we don't spend time to sit down and look at what currency we have to work with and what currency we value most in life, how are we going to possibly maximize the currency or currencies that mean the most to us? How do you know you have enough money? I work with billionaires, and the one predicate that I see across every billionaire or every person that's north of 100 million, and I know a lot of people that make 9 figures, they never think it's enough. Why? They're not answering the currency question that's not related to money. They figured out how to make money a long time ago. They make it faster than all of us in this room put together. I'm not poor. He's not poor. There's a couple other people in this room that are not poor. The people I know make more money per hour than probably this whole room does in a week. Maybe in a month. They've never addressed why are they making that money? What do they want to use it for? What are they using it to gain access? What are they doing to, by the way, there's a currency that we've heard from damn near every speaker on this stage today, but very rarely comes up in such plain language. There's a currency called giving back. Most of us think if I make enough money, I'll have enough money to invest in something. What if you created a life and an opportunity where between relationships and time, you could put yourself into something. Who here would love to be able to give something that they've worked very hard for free to a grateful and recognizing audience? So the currency of giving back, it's not selfless. It's very selfish, like the accumulation of all the other currencies we have. But whether selfish or selfless, wherever your emotional spectrum sits, because remember how we started this out, and I've said that currency also includes self, our physical, our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual range as well. So when we give back, what are we doing? We are trading our time and knowledge and information and expertise to do what? To feel better. To take a withdrawal and give it over here to get a deposit over here for this purpose and reason. If you sat down and honestly asked yourself, what is the amount of money I have to make every month? And I mean every month. Not what would be a good month or what's a bad month, every month. And not the amount you're using to get by right now. You could answer that question pretty quickly. If I asked you how much time you are spending doing the things you do to make money, you would all say, I'm not getting a high enough return and I spend way too much time doing it. So if I challenged you to correlate the amount of money you need to make with the amount of time you're willing to invest in your money-making opportunities, most of you would feel fucking terrible. Because I still feel terrible about it. Because my opinion of how I spend that time hasn't graduated enough, or I haven't realized there's other currencies. So what's the give back? I'll talk about my profession for a moment. My give back is relief. Do you know how I know relief happens? Because I have literally, before COVID, walked in the room and heard, thank God he's here. I join a Zoom call and other coaches of mine are working with somebody and say, Mitch is here. He'll help solve the problem. Because my biggest currency to give is expertise and information. I have burned so many reps with companies, so many reps with businesses and industries, and so many reps through volatility. Anybody remember a little thing called COVID 4 years ago? Maybe you never heard of it, right? Okay. Anybody, since we're all headquartered in Alberta right now, who got pinched in the oil and gas shutdown 2014, 2015? How many dudes making six figures were driving courier for 18 to 22 bucks an hour taking jobs at McDonald's? Right? These things have an effect, and so when you watch the adversity that happens, as well as the plenty, the plethora and bounty in life when things are going well, you accumulate a lot of expertise, knowledge, and referential framing. In other words, when somebody goes, Mitch, I got a problem, I'm like, chances are I got an answer. Why? I've seen so much of this that my expertise suggests that this looks like that, ergo we do this. Don't do that because that will screw you terribly. So my biggest currency professionally is expertise and information. Other people pay money to access that. They don't pay me to do something for them or do something to them or with them. You keep your head out of the gutter, Missy. They pay me for what I know. What a rare gift I've given myself in life. Because I challenged myself to say, how do I become one of the best at this? My biggest currency that I accumulate in life is information related to something very specific across a broad range of subjects. Finance, hiring, sales, marketing, etc. All these things, there are people that spend years specializing in one thing. I'm like, I have to learn all of it. It's the currency I want to operate from. And the moment I've accumulated enough stuff, whatever enough stuff is, I can take it and have other people show up to spend time with me and pay me good money to access the information. To say to themselves, I don't know, and this scares me to shit, I don't know, and this guy seems like he's got something. I'm going to trust them, and you tell me it's going to cost me a couple of bucks. Well, what is that? They're beginning to make a change in valuing currency. So I invite you, when you leave today, to write down for a moment how much money is enough. You'll be surprised that you can't come up with a clear answer. You're going to write a number down, and if you put it down and wake up tomorrow, you're like, that number's not it. So I challenge you to become more specific. How much money must I earn in a month? Must. And I don't mean must to cover your bills, I mean must. This is the number you must earn. And then right below it, how much time am I going to spend investing in information and access or relationships or learning so that the number I must make every month corresponds to the amount of time I must spend doing it. And when I write down how much time I'm going to spend doing it, it behooves me to go down another line and say, how much time do I want to spend in my relationships? How much time do I want to spend learning? How much time do I want to spend getting, and this is one of the toughest currencies of all, access. If you think it's not cool that I can go to my phone in my coat at the back and call the number 2 person in the world at Tesla, I got to tell you, you're wrong. That's pretty damn cool. That is exceptionally cool. The dude that makes the giant mines for the Boring Company, I can call him at home. I can say bad things to him. That's awful fun, right? I can call one of the elder statesmen in all of Major League Baseball. He's one of the highest earning pitchers of all time. The amount of money this guy makes is staggering. I can call him and call him bad words too. That's pretty cool. That's lots of fun. But it's not lots of fun to call them and tell them that they're idiots or morons or whatever. No insulting. I can call them and say, here, we're going to edit this out in a second. You fucking asshole. How you doing? Good, Mitch. How you doing, jackass? It's great. That is worth everything in my business. It may be worth nothing to you. It may be nothing more than an anecdotal story to tell elsewhere. But for me to accumulate clients and opportunities and do some of the wonderful things I get to do in business, I get to travel all over. I get to go all over the world and work with people doing cool things. The only way I can do that is by doing what? Accumulating information and knowledge, understanding what the dollars per that information and those hours I spend is worth, and accumulating access to other people. I had to find other people that learned things first so I could learn to do it. And then I had to find people that were willing to exchange something, even if it was a little bit of time and money, to allow me the opportunity to practice that enough that it became valuable. And the moment it became valuable, I had to trust enough in outside influence and authority, in other words, other people that know things more than me, to put input in and know that it was for what? My best. Not their best, not their opinion, my best. How was I able to tell that it was in my best interest, not theirs? Relationship. And when I trust those people that are further down the path that I am, that those relationships, they have my best interest at heart, guess what that is? Access. People that know more than me spend time with me because they find what? A valuable return of currency. Our life is full of these currencies, whether we want to address it or not. And it pays to understand what your most valuable currency is. What is the currency you seek most in life? And how do you tie them all together so they make sense? And as I finish off talking today, I will suggest that there will be a currency that you natively collect. There is a currency that you envy. And there's a currency that you have very little to do with because it makes you uncomfortable, you're not confident, etc. If you write them down, they will become that time-honored test, which is what can be watched can be measured, and what can be measured does what? Grows. If you want to create an impact that has more money, more abundance, more time, better relationships, everything I've said in the last 24 minutes and 3 seconds, by the way, this is 24 minutes of your time invested with me today. multiplied by the audience, multiplied by the people in the future that are going to watch, you will already set yourself up for success better by understanding your own currencies, the ones that are most valuable to you, and how to connect them and mesh them together. You will be better for it because you will do that great thing, which is to challenge yourself. Nobody else in this room or in life can tell you what currency to pursue or what value it has. That is uniquely up to you. And if you want to value those things that are going to be most important to life and most necessary, by the way, having enough time to do things and have enough money, still pretty important. Make sure that you are honest with yourself in knowing what those currencies are, where you're at, and where you'd like to be.